All right, welcome back to the CSO YouTube channel. My name is Mauzy, and today we are going to meet for the last time regarding the Welcome to StarCraft 2 series. If you'll have any questions, don't worry, I'll be here every single time. You can hit me up on Discord, my DMs are open. You can actually ask here on YouTube. You can check out my own channel and ask me stuff there. So, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll be here for you and I'll help you through every struggle and I'll help with whatever I can. So, today I prepared something much more chilled. We're going to discuss a bit about the community, but first, let's dive into some tips and tricks that might actually make it easier to dive into StarCraft 2. So, if you're in the menu, just hit escape, press the help button, the help tab, and you'll see something called game mechanics. Game mechanics will make you familiar with all the things that are on certain maps. Some are present on maps, some are not. Maybe all of them are present. You'll see, read through them. It's no biggie. They are self-explanatory and you'll love them. The other thing that I want to talk about is the units tab. So in the Void multiplayer section, you'll have the three races units, and you'll see if you click on one of them, you'll see something about some units being strong or weak against some other units. This is not a guarantee. This comes down to control and comes down to strategy, positioning, unit composition. But if you take it on a one-on-one basis or you just adapt it to a general skirmish, like everyone does everything perfectly, then this should be the outcome. That's kind of the should have been thing. As I said, it's not guaranteed, so please keep that in mind. Okay, let's talk about a couple of settings, shall we? Graphics, sound, mouse and keyboard, and all that stuff that is present here is actually preferential, but let's talk about something in the gameplay tab, or a couple of things rather. First of all, alerts. These are going to be your friends in the earliest part of your StarCraft 2 journey, because you'll be aware when a building finishes, when you are under attack, you can click on them, it will center the camera on the current action or alert. So I recommend you have these enabled. If you find them annoying, just disable them. Build grid helps you position buildings for walls, or maybe just positioning in general will help you on that regard. So I also recommend having this on, but if once again it annoys you, feel free to disable them. Enabling simple command card is the next option that we're going to look at. I have this on check because without it, you'll only see the attack, move, and move command, and might not be aware of the patrol, hold position, and stop keys. If you're a visual type like me, then you'll be much happier to see them, and you'll be much more likely to use them. So I recommend unchecking this box. This next one is probably the most crucial one. Enable enemy unit selection. Without this being checked, you will not be able to click on units to see the upgrades, or click on currently buildings, or structures, sorry. So you'll not be able to click on the structures that are currently building and see what they are to react in time. This is important. This is the most important out of this video, in my opinion. So be sure to have this checked. One cool, two actually. The last two are some cool things. Displaying experience points. First of all, let me clarify: experience points don't help you in the game. They can unlock your portraits outside of the game. They are kind of to pimp out your account. It'll show a progress bar or how much XP you gained at the end of the match, but doesn't help you in any other regard. This is cool to have this option enabled, because if you kill a unit with like something like a projectile and it's out of your vision after basically sent out that projectile and it dies, you'll see the XP points floating there. So you can confirm that it died. And allow window restore is the last option that is preferential in my opinion, but it's really useful. Let's say you are alt-tab, and if the game is found and puts you on the loading screen, the StarCraft window will come back, or be selected as your main window, will put you back into the StarCraft 2 window. On the right side, unit light bars, control groups, and flyer helper are all really useful things. Unit light bars, in my opinion, damaged is the way to go, but if you don't bother having everything shown and you don't feel like it's too cluttered, then you can try always. With damaged, if there's missing energy, shields, or HP, then you're going to see that specific bar on the screen. If not, then you can be sure that there's no issues with that specific unit. Control groups. Control groups are used to save specific groups of units, and you can access them by pressing that one key. It makes it a bit easier to control your army. For example, you can have 2 separate army hotkeys and one for your spellcasters. One is your main army, second one is your harassing / run by army, and you have your spellcasters. And you can also hotkey your main buildings, your production facilities, to access them even easier. But these can be also clicked on the HUD or the UI. So it features clickable buttons. You'll see each of them on the bottom of your screen. So I recommend having these on unclickable to avoid clicking on them accidentally and messing things up for yourself. Show flyer helper. There's a couple of units that cannot attack directly air units, but they have spells that can actually damage air units as well, such as Silent Storm. Well, Templars can attack them, but let's be honest, those water balloons are not going to damage anyone. And there's a better example is the Ravager with the Corrosive Bile. Ravagers don't attack air units, but Corrosive Biles can land in places where it damages air units as well. If you try to aim at the model, you'll most likely miss or give the enemy more chances to dodge. If you have this enabled, as always, or selected, if you select that flying unit, you'll see that there is a little line and a dot on the ground underneath the flying unit. You need to aim at that specific dot to be able to actually hit the center of that flying unit. So it's really helpful. And the last thing that we're going to talk about is going to be regarding the hotkeys. I recommend you scroll over the entire hotkey tab. If you don't find something, you might find it here. But what I'm going to talk about is camera locations. Similar to control groups, it will allow you to save certain locations on the map and access them with a single key. This is great to hotkey your bases, just to make sure that you can access your bases easier. Once you have like 5-6 bases in a match, you'll find it much harder to just click on the map. You might find it easier to just hit that button and get familiar with what's happening in your base currently. I recommend you start out using these and pick a hotkey combination that is comfortable for you, and basically just do something useful for yourself, and just use these camera hotkeys. For example, for myself, I have Shift plus the F keys to create them, and I have the F keys itself. I also have secondary ones if it makes it comfortable for later on to just access them. But yeah, overall, these are my preferentials, and I also use a different set of hotkeys called the Core Light, so it will differ from your standard hotkeys. And I actually recommend that you don't use the standard hotkeys, you personalize them. That's such a preferential thing. You want to make yourself comfortable while playing StarCraft. That's one way to do it. Alright, before I let you go with all the knowledge that you gained from this 4-day course, pretty much, I'm going to talk about a tad bit about the community. The StarCraft 2 community, based on my opinion and based on a lot of others' opinion, is probably the most welcoming competitive type of game community that you can wish for. Why do I say that? Well, these players are always ready to help. Back then, when I was a new player, I asked for some good advice on generally how to start out as a new player. I got at least like 10 to 15 comments based on like, oh, you should check out this and this and this series, and then this guide and that guide and this content creator and that Discord, and go ask for help here and ask for practice. And oh, if you want, I can just jump into a game with you and help you out. And oh, what's your race? I can help you with this race and that race and all that good stuff. So basically, this is, in my opinion, it's second to none. And I come from a lot of type of communities. Trust me, I didn't really experience anything like the StarCraft community. The other thing I have to talk about is probably the esports. Currently, for the pro scene, there's a couple of things you can watch. There's the ESO Pro Tour, which is combined out of basically a lot of tournaments, premier tournaments or majors, call them whatever. Bigger and smaller tournaments, basically LAN and online tournaments, as well as the weekly ESL Pro Tour Open Cups, EPT Open Cups, and all of these award the pro players with EPT points that are going to matter when it comes to qualifying for the World Championship. So if a player does well, they come in basically first in the EPT circuit, and that means they will have the best seeding for IEM Katowice, the World Championship of StarCraft 2 currently. Back then it was run by Blizzard and it was held at BlizzCon. Nowadays it's not the case, sadly or not sadly. ESL runs the whole thing, so I believe they are a lot more competent since they are an organizing entity. So yeah, I think the StarCraft 2 esports scene is in good hands, so definitely check that out. If you're an amateur player or looking to be an amateur player, there's a lot of options, including some of the CSO tournaments. There's a Open Cup, which is pretty much no MMR, aka league or whatever, like it's not limited, that's the idea. And we have another one for a bit lower, like up until like Diamond 1, which is around 4500 MMR, more or less, depends where Masters 3 hits, basically, where Masters 3 border is in each season. But yeah, generally speaking, below 4500. There's also a couple of other tournaments that are lower MMR. I'll have a couple of links down in the description for both the pro scene and the amateur scene, so be sure to check that out. And last but not least, I think I should talk a couple of words about the StarCraft 2 content creators. There's a lot of them, both on Twitch and on YouTube. Names that I could think of are probably Majestim for educational and fun casual content. Pig, who's a caster. Majestim's a pro player but does content, daily uploads. Pig, the same. He's also coaching. He's also having something called a Bronze to GM series, which is basically educational step-by-step guide on how to improve in StarCraft. Once you know what basically the base settings, the base concepts are for each race, you can just go watch that and have a fun time watching it. Loco does a lot of fun content. He's not exclusively streaming StarCraft, neither is Winter, but they both cast really cool games. Winter is, in my opinion, more of a meme lord than Loco. Loco is a bit more on the serious end. Winter is more on the casual end, but they both make super nice, very professionally sounding casting. The former two, that I mentioned also make casting. They have casting channels, so be sure to check those out. I'll also have a couple more linked in the description, so yeah, be sure to give them a follow and start bonding with them. Anyways, friends, that's going to be it. Mauzy, yours truly, is going to just say goodbye now, and I hope you learned. I hope you enjoyed this 4-part guide series. There's going to come more in the future, hopefully. We're probably going to expand the playable races to a more deeper race by race guide, and as well we're going to have a special content regarding casting, the intricacies of casting and the production side and all that, just to show you what we are struggling with and what we are enjoying in it. So yeah, thank you for watching, thank you for being here. I appreciate your presence as always. And as always, I was Mauzy, this was CSO Esports, and we wish you nothing but the best. Goodbye, stay safe, have a good one. Cheers.